I only have two questions. I've got a short one, which I hope will get a short response from Dr. Collins, so each of you will have a chance to answer the second question. The first one is this. The National Academies have done a couple of studies that show that 42% of an investigator's time is spent on administrative tasks. The taxpayer spends about $30 billion through NIH. 80% of that goes into research. In a conversation they had of National Academy said about 10% would be a reasonable amount of time for an investigator, although it would vary depending upon the investigation. What are the opportunities for reducing that 42% down more toward 10 or 12 or 15 for saving money so that we could have more multi-year investigations? And are there things that we can do to change the law to make that easier for you to do?
Well, thank you for the question, Senator. We, too, are very concerned about the idea that investigators are spending 42% of their time dealing with administrative matters instead of directly engaged in research, and we're part of the support of that survey, which showed that number has not really changed from 2005 to 2012. We are undertaking a number of things that we have the ability to do to try to limit the amount of administrative oversight, but not all of that falls within our purview. Some of it comes from other directions, some of it's from the universities themselves. Things that we have done are to standardize the biographical sketch, the CV that individuals have to provide when they apply for a grant. That actually turns out to be a substantial assistance. Something we're in the middle of, where perhaps some help could be offered, is a revision of how to interpret the common rule that oversees the research involving human subjects, which has not gone through a revision in 20 years, and which does not currently take account of the risk involved in study and applies a great deal of oversight to some studies that are truly low risk, as if they were in fact invasive surgical procedures.
Dr. Collins, may I interrupt in this way? Would you be willing to work with us to identify what those things are specifically, so that during this next several months we can, if we need to make changes in the law, that we can help with that? Because I want to ask you and Dr. Hamburg this question and
yes.
give you, we don't want to waste our time in the next year, and we can't do everything. So could you say now, and then if you want to submit it later in addition to your statement, what are the one or two or three things that we should focus on and in order to make the greatest contribution to the goal of moving medicines, devices, and treatments from discovery to the medicine cabinet, as you put it, or to the doctor's office, and each of you?
Senator, I appreciate that question, and I have a long list, and I'd very much look forward to talking with you at greater opportunity.
We'll do that.
But if you want me to name two, one which sounds pedestrian but is an incredibly vexing situation and terribly wasteful for scientists' time, is the current very rigorous oversight of attendance of scientists at scientific meetings. This applies to both NIH and FDA. We're currently spending about $16 million and using hundreds of employees to go through a process which, as far as I could say, has relatively little, if any, added value. All of this triggered by some misadventures by other agencies who convened conferences in places like Las Vegas, for which we are all now paying a price. But scientists going to conferences is a critical part of how we move things forward, how new ideas emerge, and it is very much being inhibited by this very heavy-handed oversight, and we could much benefit from your help there. The second one, I would say, NSF and the Department of Energy and their scientific budgeting that happens every year, they're allowed to carry funds over into a second year. We are not, so we come up to the end of September, oftentimes with money that we need to spend or it goes away. If we had the opportunity to carry that over, it wouldn't cost another dime. We could be more flexible in how we spend the taxpayers' money.
Thank you, Dr. Collins. Dr. Hamburg.
Thank you. I certainly agree with what Dr. Collins said. Are you looking specifically for administrative issues or broader?
I just want to make sure we don't waste our time, that we focus on getting a result. So one or two things that, whatever you think.
Okay, well, let me step to a slightly higher level in terms of what I think are two critical and related needs in terms of being able to advance FDA's activities and, in fact, support biomedical research and product development. One is that I do believe we need to invest more money in regulatory science that develops the knowledge and the tools and approaches and strategies that really enable us to assess in an effective and efficient way the safety, efficacy, quality, and performance of a product. It's been an underappreciated, underdeveloped, and underinvested in area of our overall biomedical product enterprise, and it's proving to be really essential as we are trying to take that last set of steps from research and development into a product that will really make a difference in people's lives. And we've laid out, I think, an important and exciting research agenda, and we've done work with NIH in this domain. I think the other area is to recognize that FDA and our scientists has a huge amount to contribute to the overall process of product development, as well as our important responsibility for review. And, you know, certainly for us to be able to engage in a consistent way earlier as research plans are being shaped so that the right studies are done, so that the return on investment of monies in research all along the way are really driving towards a product that works.
Thank you very much, Senator Murray.